I need a username. And I have a great one. Little Kid Lover. That way people will know exactly where my priorities are at.
By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
Actually talking about there at the NRA meeting that's today in Texas. Someone should bomb that building.
Day 66, being a girl, and today I'm in nature. Trees, I love them. Water, lakes, I love them. Heels, they're my hiking heels. I love them.
I'm shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap.
Everybody is going to get to know each other in the pot. I'm serious about this stuff.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I enjoy having breakfast in bed. I like waking up to the smell of bacon. Sue me.
How dare you?
And your favorite dish?
My favorite dish? I like mugs because they're very comfortable in your hand and they hold hot things.
Describe your perfect date.
I'd have to say April 25th.
I mean, this is...
If I had a gun with 2 bullets and I was in a room with Hitler, Bin Laden, and Toby, I would shoot Toby twice.
Oh.
Okay,
You were
all
being
right.
really funny, and then you went too far.
It was bad. It was bad for Trump to meet with.
To keep alive the truth and honor of the Holocaust, horror of the Holocaust.
Fuck.
Is it bad advice to say, like, go outside Ted Cruz's house and just shoot in the air?
Yes.
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 Why are you running? Why are you running?
You shout like that, they put you in jail. Right away. No trial, no nothing.
Sexism in gaming.
Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists.
Scroats McGoat says, last night as a member, if Tim doesn't disavow Eliza tonight, get the out, Scroats McGoat. Bye-bye.
If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace.
Now, bitch. See how you like guns outside your house. Get a fake tactical nuke.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm.
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that Hassan Piker. I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house.
Or in the ring.
No, in real life.
Alright, well apparently I'm an idiot and can't figure out how to do my upcoming stream thing, so I'll have to come back to that later on. Honest to God, I thought I had this all set up. I had it set to premiere, I thought I had everything ready to go. And it turns out that regardless of the fact that I've got my stream key connected to my YouTube account, my OBS software, I've got it all like screwed up. Hey, Magoose. Yeah, in real life, exactly. I mean, I've thought of using that Sam Hyde clip before, but it was just too good to pass up. I had to. Let me just finish. I had this upcoming stream thing figured out. I had it down. I had it ready to go, and then I screwed. I don't know what I did, but it's fine. I think I've got it more or less solved at this point. We're just kind of gonna go with this. I wasn't even necessarily thinking of doing a live stream tonight either, and then I saw this Scott Adams thing, and then I saw this thing about Black Rifle Coffee. I'm like, okay, shit, I have to. I have no choice. I have to do it. Alright, well. Let me get a poll going. I forgot to mod you. I need to get that done for the next time I stream again. I could probably do it right now, but I'm just gonna hold off and do it next time. Anyways, and how are you doing? I know I just injected my Stellara 2 days ago and I feel like crap right now. I always get this feeling like I'm trying to catch a cold or something like the first week after I take it. Alright. Oh, it's... just wait, it just... There's gonna be 1,000 videos on it by tomorrow or probably Tuesday, but I'm kind of happy. I'm probably going to get in on the earlier side of things. To get a poll going. I can edit the poll. I can change the answer. Okay, cool. Yeah, the Scott Adams thing is so crazy out of hand. Currently a scam going on YouTube claiming Woody is going to jail and send money for the cause. Are you serious, Max? That is insane. What would he be going to jail for? Oh my god. Woke up from a nap. Oh, well, sorry to hear that you're under the weather. Yeah, for me it's just like, I think I had the same thing when I was on Humira also, but definitely I've noticed it more in the last 6 months that I've been on Stelara. That like that first few days after I inject it, you know, immune system kind of feels like garbage. It's that's the way that medicine works. Scam 3 ads? I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, the scams that I'm familiar with are when they when you're in the comment section to some big YouTuber and somebody copies their profile picture and has a blank account on Telegram. They want you to message them on Telegram and give them money or some shit like that. Those are the ones I've definitely seen. All right, we'll just go with it. All right, so the poll is live. You don't have to take the poll until we kind of go through what he said, but I was going to save Scott for last. It's already almost 10 o'clock here, so I kind of feel like came into your recommended videos. Damn. Okay, yeah, so for biologics, it's normal. Yeah, I mean, that's how I am. It's like my stomach, it's the weirdest thing for me. My biggest side effect from the biologics, like Stelara and Humira, is I get like my stomach will be like really gurgly and talking in the middle of the night. It's the funniest thing. All right. Yeah, the Woody Harrelson thing, I don't even think is that big of a deal. He's not the first person to say it, but that being said, we can just kind of break it down real fast. Deadline. I love these websites that have this definitive opinion on, he said this thing that we think is bad because it's not the approved message, and instantly we have to say he's a horrible person, right? So it says, Woody Harrelson sparks controversy with SNL monologue that has Elon Musk calling it a, quote, good one. Which is funny because it's like, I don't think it's even that funny. Like, to be honest, I grew up on shows like Cheers and Taxi and Frasier and stuff. Woody Harrelson, I've never really had he's never had any appeal, like, for me personally. He's kind of funny as like a supporting character, like if he's the ass of the joke, I guess. But yeah, everyone's like losing their shit, either thinking that this is like something amazing or that it's just like, oh, he said something he's not allowed to say. It's just insane. So it says he divided his Saturday Night Live viewers over his monologue as the actor hosted the NBC sketch show for the 5th time. First of all, I don't even know who still watches SNL. I mean, anybody? I used to watch SNL off and on up until about, I'd say, maybe 10 years ago. Maybe a little bit more than 10 years ago. It's been a while. The True Detective alum took to the stage and made remarks calling out mandates over the COVID vaccine. Biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes, and people can only come out if they take the cartels' drugs and keep taking them over and over, Harrelson said, about an alleged film script he read. You sure as hell don't? I don't know anybody who does, to be honest. Harrelson's punchline followed with the host adding, I threw the script away. I mean, who's going to believe that crazy idea? Being forced to do drugs? I do that voluntarily all day long. Let's see. In the past, Harrelson has called out the government and pharmaceutical companies profiting from the COVID pandemic, and many people on social media assumed his SNL monologue was another one of those instances. Well, what's wrong with that? This is my issue with things where they paint it kind of like in a negative light. Even if so, like, let's say that is him coming out against the government or the pharmaceutical company. Who the hell cares? That's a good thing, in my opinion. The more people, and I don't give a damn what an actor says. Actors don't have like 2 brain cells between them to rub together. But like, in general, the more people you have that at least have a more elevated platform that are going to talk about this kind of crap, who are going to call it out, isn't it that a good thing? I mean, for the everyday person, it is. Elon Musk called Harrelson's monologue a good one as the debate sparked on social media following the late night show airing. Let's see. As the media reported on Harrelson's monologue, social media users that are conspiracy theorists, Kingpin, Zombie... See, I never saw Zombieland. Oh yeah, no, this current iteration, this current era, this generation of Hollywood, I've said this before on a few different videos, there's no stars in Hollywood, and there's people in Hollywood who have said the same thing. There's no star power. Hollywood has lost its appeal, it's lost its magic, it's lost the glitz and glamour, and to be fair, it never really had it. Hollywood has always been this incestuous, disgusting, drug-addicted, pervert-filled, cesspool. But it used to have go back to like the 40s and 50s, go back to like the John Wayne generation, go back to like when music, like the popular singer was Frank Sinatra. There was this veneer that they put on it that basically it kind of like hid all the awful stuff. And plus we didn't have social media. We didn't have 24/7 news drippings coming in where you had like a constant stream of information being thrown at you. So it wasn't as easy to get access to all the dirt that everybody was doing. I just love the conspiracy theorist term though. Another user pointed out the headline saying Harrelson was spreading anti-vax conspiracies. It just cracks me up. It's not anti-vax. Not anti-vax. Although it's so funny. My wife and I, we've got all of our kids their childhood shots, at least the first few years of them. And I actually, 2 of my brothers got theirs. Me and one of my brothers didn't. I have had 0 shots in my life. Other than besides my infusions, I've never had a shot of anything. Just like steroids and stuff in the hospital through an IV. But like the whole thing where they're calling people anti-vaxxers is what's actually turning me into an anti-vaxxer. I have never had a problem with like I can look at things like inoculations and immunizations and things that have been proven to be effective against things like smallpox and polio, all that kind of stuff. But the level of vitriol towards people who didn't go off and get an unnecessary shot, especially for 99% of the population. And I'm not even saying for like people who have weakened immune systems, people who are elderly, people who might have made a informed decision to get it, fine. But like the verbiage being used against people who didn't rush out to get it, who didn't care about the mandates, it's just insane. You fell into this without knowing anything about Scott Adams? Well, Scott Adams, the funny thing about it is he's conservative, right-wing. Yeah, so he's the guy that wrote Dilbert, right? So he's the cartoonist behind Dilbert. And Dilbert is one of those ones, because I'm a kid from born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. I love Dilbert. But I didn't know anything about him until 2020, 2021, during the lockdowns. He was always fairly anti-lockdown. He wasn't pro-mandate per se, but he was very pro go get the shot. Like telling people that they were idiots if they didn't get the shot. Very judgmental. Even then, like since these new studies have come out showing that the shot wasn't as effective, that natural immunity is a thing, go figure, Scott Adams, he kind of like halfway apologized for his hardline stance on getting the shot, but then it was like, well, but you guys didn't have any data or science to back up your opinion either, so it really was a 50-50 shot either way. So now he's in trouble for his recent statements on certain ethnic groups being more hostile towards white people. But yeah, we'll get into that one in a few minutes. It's spicy. It's very spicy. Yeah. So Scott Adams, he's had some really weird opinions. And again, nobody's going to be on the same page. Look, I'm okay with everybody having a diversity of opinion and thought. I don't want everyone to be like little drones and clones of each other, okay? I thought I had this brought up here. Well, it's not too far down through SNL's feed. I didn't even watch any of the rest of the skits because I just don't care. I don't watch SNL. I don't watch regular TV other than like baseball once in a while. But like the thing that got everyone's panties in a wad was this. Yeah, he was just pointing out corruption, 100%. But yeah, if you just look, like if you could zoom in on this girl's face right here, she is pissed. This gal over here kind of cracked a smile a little bit, but it's like he tried to add some levity to it by going, "Oh well, hey, I take drugs for free, no big deal." I don't know. For me personally, like I said, I don't care what Woody Harrelson has to say. I don't care what any of them have to say. It's like, it's nice when you see somebody who's not a complete left-winger in Hollywood, but that still doesn't mean that their opinion is worth more than the average person's. I mean, don't get me wrong. The average ostracized conservative actor in Hollywood or performer, like any musician, they're still more, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say privileged, because it's like a lot of them had to work for where they are, but they're still in the elite, you know? So a lot of those quiet, silent conservatives in Hollywood and in the music industry, sure, they have to be quiet around their Hollywood friends about like their politics, but they're still living in $1 million mansions. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel too sorry for them. But yeah, so the Black Rifle Coffee thing, this is funny, okay? The Woody Harrelson thing for me is kind of a throwaway. It's like, all right, it was funny. He kind of pointed it out. Now he's in hot water or whatever. I don't think he's getting canceled for it. I don't know about any scam with people trying to say he's going to jail. That is so far-fetched. Hey, Gary. That is so far-fetched. I can't imagine that actually being a thing, but I'm sure it is. I mean, shit. I don't know. A type of authority which is kind of a privilege. I know that. I know. I hate to use... Again, everyone's freaking out about, quote, leftist talking points these days. Crazy, because words are words. Words have been appropriated by people, but words still have meaning. Like, that's a whole side tangent I'm not even going to go down right now. So, Black Rifle Coffee. If no one else has been paying too much attention, it's funny. When I was still really fresh on YouTube, one of my most successful videos, and I think it got like 600 some odd views, I think it got more downvotes than upvotes. I pissed off a lot of people. Black Rifle Coffee had this article come out in the New York Times. Why they interviewed with the New York Times, I still will never know. Black Rifle Coffee is supposed to be the conservative, kick-ass, pro-military, pro-cop, right-wing, gun-toting, blow-em-up, shoot-em-up coffee brand. For me, I just like coffee if it tastes good. I don't give a shit about all the rest of that crap, right? But for me personally, I did actually like one of their coffees. Their Freedom Blend, I tried it once. I was at Cabela's, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good coffee, right? Well, so they got in some hot water because there was a New York Times interview that they called them up and said, hey, we're going to do a piece on you guys. Before we release it, do you want to come do an interview? And Evan Hafer at the time, he made the statement that, well, I could either let them do a hit piece on me or I could go give an interview and try to, like, reduce the damage. So he goes and does the interview. Then he pins the tweet to the New York Times interview to his Twitter account. Then Max Best, and I can't remember who the other guy is. I interacted with him a little bit on Twitter. The other guy seemed a little bit more level-headed. Evan and Matt were both kind of dickish about it, whatever. Max. Is it Matt or Max? Oh, fuck it. Who cares? Matt or Max, either way. But those two guys, basically in the interview, they throw Kyle Rittenhouse under the bus. They try to distance him as much as possible from them. And hey, I'm not a huge Kyle Rittenhouse fan. I believe he should have been exonerated. I believe he defended himself, but I think he's kind of a dumbass that never should have put himself in that position in the first place. But I'm looking at that as a parent looking at a 17-year-old who went to a violent riot. So that's my personal take on it. I 100% believe in Kyle Rittenhouse's case that the proper verdict was given, that he was innocent, that he did use self-defense, and that's been justified. So, side tangent. But they did kind of throw him under the bus. Then they made the statement about they don't like those racist, Proud Boyish types and how he'd pay to get them all out of his customer base, all that junk, right? Never been a fan, not since the Rittenhouse thing. Yeah, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. All these people selling coffee are sourcing from the same big plantation, selling to the grocery store for 1/3 the price. So, I think one of the coffee companies, I got a tip on that from somebody. I don't want to out anybody because look, nobody honestly believes all these YouTubers are grinding their own, roasting their own beans and harvesting them themselves and roasting them and bagging them. Look, I work for I don't even want to say a gourmet food company, even though that's what it is. My mom has a business. Her and I work together. We have no employees. We actually produce our own products. None of these other YouTubers are doing that, okay? The difference is I'm not over here trying to shill them on YouTube. That's my day job, and then during my evenings is when I do this. That being said, I don't fault the YouTubers for not growing their own beans. They're YouTubers. They don't have any experience in that. They have to source them from different countries, and then they have them roasted by a third party. I think there's one that's actually based in Utah, where most of these people get their coffee from. And it got to the point where I was thinking maybe I should just buy from them directly if it's cheaper, because I really liked some of the coffee I've tried through YouTube, but I hate paying the price. Like, I can go to Costco and get a 5-pound bag of coffee for $30-40 and grind it when I need it, and it's pretty damn good, versus $20 for like a 14-12 ounce bag. I mean, I can't afford that right now on coffee. That's insane. So I don't fault anybody for doing the coffee gig. More power to you. If you can make money at it, that's great. But I think it's a misnomer. I don't think anybody actually believes that these people are, quote, making their own coffee. I mean, I think that's fair, right? We do, at my mom's business, we do spice blends, okay? We don't grow the herbs. Yeah, we source them. We get them from organic herb companies and stuff, but what we do is we make the recipes and we blend the herbs together. We don't actually, like, grow the herbs, and I don't tell anybody that I grow the herbs. For me, that's the difference right there. So apparently, I didn't even know about this. I was going to talk about something completely different. Apparently, this came out about a week or two ago. This was from updated October 5th. So this has been dragging on since last year, but it's been updated more recently than that. There's articles as recent as like 5 days ago. Black Rifle Coffee has had another legal case brought against them, apparently about stock manipulation. Now, I'm not 100% sure how valid this is, but we'll kind of skim this a little bit and get the meat and bones of this article here. By the Orange County Register, says a conservative-leaning coffee business that returns a portion of its profit to veterans is at the center of a brewing legal battle. Well, that's funny, play on words there. Between two Orange County investment companies amid allegations of stock manipulation, fraud, and harassment. Side note, if they're so pro-military, pro-country, pro all this badass stuff, why are they in California and not in Texas? Texas or Florida, they're far more business-friendly. Way better, like, I don't know. That's just me, personally, looking at it like that. But these guys are like California types, right? The nasty dispute, which also includes allegations of a phony law firm and a shadowy website. Oh, God, this sounds like Shane Cashman stuff here. Additionally, has spawned a libel suit and a request for a restraining order from fearful employees. At the center of the conflict is 1791 Management LLC, operated by former Laguna Niguel City, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, City Council candidate and actuary Jonathan Wallentine. 1791 is suing Salt Lake City-based Black Rifle Coffee. Oh, Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay. And one of its major stockholders, hedge fund Engaged Capital of Newport Beach. Oh, that's why it's in Newport. Okay. Yeah, I thought they were like, I thought they were actually based in Tennessee or something. I saw a picture of Matt and Evan with something that said Tennessee. Gang stalkers, right? I know that totally had that gang stalker vibe. The civil complaint filed in Orange County Superior Court in May accuses Black Rifle and Engaged of securities law violations, fraud, breach of contract, and negligent misrepresentation. It seeks more than $5 million in damages. So what it gets down to, like the meat and bones of it, is right here. 1791 alleges Black Rifle officials defrauded shareholders out of billions of dollars in February by delaying a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, keeping the available shares of stock artificially low and resulting in a so-called squeeze. So company executives could issue exempted stocks to themselves and reap huge profits. If that's true, that's a big screw-up. That's a big no-no. So, in quotes here, we believe your plan was designed to artificially inflate your stock price by keeping the availability of Black Rifle stock off the market, Wallentine wrote in a May 17th letter to Hafer. Your official response was that Black Rifle was currently waiting on SEC comments and would make the filing effective as soon as possible. We have our own documented communications with the SEC that make us believe your statements were false. Are we really to believe that Black Rifle's recent meteoric stock price rise and ultimate collapse were just natural forces of the collective judgment of Black Rifle's business prospects? And that is really curious that they took a massive hit right after they went public. Like there was this meteoric rise and then all of a sudden it just like bottomed out. And Black Rifle was losing millions of dollars on the stock market. According to its financial experts, the SEC, not companies, decide the timeline for filings. 1791 also has taken aim at its Engaged Capital, and more specifically, Chief Executive Officer Glenn Welling, linking him to 1791's inability to obtain and trade Black Rifle stock before prices plummeted. Interesting. I didn't read this part earlier. Let me take a look at this. The claim of a bogus law firm. Wallentines are also behind a website for a phony legal services firm named Hittleman Strunk that solicits investors to file claims against Black Rifle and has stated it's staffed by experienced investment fraud attorneys, according to the suit. This whole thing is scummy. I tell you, I hate it when you get into this and you go, man, everybody on all sides of it just sucks. The non-law firm Hittleman Strunk LLP is a fiction devised by the Wallentine defendants and 1791 management, the suit states. There are, in fact, lawyers named Hittleman and Strunk who practiced in California at separate law firms, but they had nothing to do with the website. The Wallentine defendants appear to have selected their names because they had personal disagreements with them as well. Oh, this is ugly. Well, at least the one good situation is, regardless of how it shakes out, I don't feel sorry for anybody involved in that case. It makes it a lot more palatable when you can just sit back and say, we'll just pop the popcorn and see how it all shakes out. I hate to see bad things happen to good people. If they're both bad people, I couldn't care less. The younger Wallentine said some of his employees purchased the HittlemanStrunk.com domain in 2019 to cheer him up after his nasty divorce, with the plan of aggregating and posting unflattering consumer reviews of Hittleman gleaned from the internet. I said, no, you can't, because it would only hurt the terrible situation I was in, and the last thing I wanted was to piss off the other lawyer. At the time, I wasn't even leaving my house. My family, friends, former employers were worried about what a terrible thing I was having to go through. They were just trying to cheer me up. Something really stinks about this entire thing. Really stinks. And, I mean, they could end up getting the countersuit to be successful against them for the fake law firm, but the reality is, if the SEC investigates and finds that there was fraud, I mean, Black Rifle's fucked at that point. There's no question. You don't mess with the SEC. That's like messing with the IRS. You just don't do it. Now, who filed the restraining order, though? Okay, so on September 15th, Welling sought a temporary restraining order in Orange County against Wallentine, alleging that 1791 employees were hanging around Engage's office and that 1791 social media posts threatened possible gun violence. Holy shit, these people are all unhinged. I can't even. So yeah, they claimed that basically that they made billions off of the fraud, the stock fraud, and I had to look it up, but apparently Black Rifle is actually assessed as of May 19th at 1.7 billion. I don't know what the current value is. Wikipedia, which is shit anyways, but that's what we'll go with. Wikipedia has them at 1.7 billion. Don't see anything recent. Okay. This website here from February 6th has them at 1.7 billion. I don't know, give or take. Oh yeah, no. No, I would avoid all these guys like the plague, but okay. So here's the real kicker, okay? This whole lawsuit might get kicked. It could end up going either way. Who cares, honestly? It seems like just greedy, bitter people fighting each other. Whatever. I have no love for Evan. I have no love for Matt. My thing about Black Rifle Coffee, and they kind of point out in an article we're going to go to, I have family that are military. I have a brother who's currently serving as an officer. He's over in Poland. And he is far from the image that Black Rifle portrays. He is a straight-laced, uniformed officer in the Army. He has a tedious job. He works 12, 14 hours a day. It's a thankless job. He's not like blowing shit up and shooting guns and flying helicopters and all that. He's not tattooed and he doesn't have giant muscles. He just is in the Army, and that he takes his job seriously. I feel like the military has three types of people. The people that are doing it as a career because they thought it was a good idea. The people who play badass and like to go around acting like they're all big and bad. And then the ones who are genuine badasses that you never hear from because they're too busy being a badass that they don't have to go on and make stupid commercials and advertise it. You know, so the dude bro image that Black Rifle put out never appealed to me. I thought, okay, it's cool. They give to veterans, they give to police, and they have good coffee. I'll give it a try. I was never drawn in by their commercials. That doesn't have any appeal to me. Yeah, I own guns. So what? I have those because of the Second Amendment and self-defense. The whole dude bro thing, you know? Hey, Invictus. Maybe a good short opportunity? Yeah. Yeah, they grifted vets for profit 100%. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, but did they grift from... And I don't want to... I'm not trying to shit on military. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have massive respect for the military. It's not a matter of shitting on military. I'm shitting on people who play military. The ones who, you know, you might have not done really anything in your military career, but you get out of the military and all of a sudden you're all tatted up. You're all these guys that have like the $400 haircuts and the big muscles, and they're riding around in the desert, blowing stuff up, acting like they had some illustrious military career. But when you look up World War II history, look up the history of Vietnam, Korea, look up these actual wars that were hell. The guys that were the biggest badasses were these scrawny, wiry, ugly, I mean, just nobodies. And they were scary as hell. These dudes were just, they were nasty, okay? They weren't pretty boys. They were tough, weathered, grizzled, you know, they were the ones that like to kill for fun. There are those. Yeah. So I think the whole Black Rifle image only appeals to the same image of just like, I don't know, the pretty boys. I feel like it's just a pretty boy thing. I don't feel like it has any like genuine respect for the military. But now let's get into the really weird shit, okay? Are you guys ready for this? I don't know if anybody here has caught this yet or not, but this guy tweeted this out, and now I have an article that I've got to read next after this. But let's kind of go through this initial allegation here. From Aristophanes, or Aristos_revenge on Twitter. Hey, Evan Hafer, what's going on at Black Rifle Coffee, bud? Your accountant outshot you in a competition, so you proceeded to try and sexually humiliate him because he's a Mormon with more moderate attitudes towards sex. Okay, this is some pretty freaky shit here. And I don't know if it's true. This is just this is a legal allegation, okay? And it's gonna be kind of hard to see, so I'll just read it for you. It says, on July 17th, 2016, Mr. Roper, who is the person that is alleging this that this happened, started working at BRCC. On July 30th, so no less than only 13 days after he started working there, Mr. Hafer and Mr. Roper competed in a handgun shooting match at Wasatch Wing and Clay Range. Mr. Roper had taken first place in the competition. Mr. Hafer, so Evan Hafer, CEO of Black Rifle Coffee, was very angry that Mr. Roper had beaten him, an employee that's been working for him for 13 days, okay? Keep that in mind. Mr. Hafer expressed his anger to Mr. Roper, and this was when Mr. Hafer began to treat Mr. Roper in an extremely hostile and domineering manner. Mr. Hafer felt like his reputation as an excellent shooter among the military special forces community was threatened by Mr. Roper when other military competitors heard the results. Early in August 2016, Mr. Roper was forced to strip down to his underwear and participate in a marketing video where his image was digitally altered to look like he was naked. Mr. Roper was not given any opportunity to refuse to participate in this video, and he felt like he had refused to participate, that he would have lost his job. Again, that's like, yeah, whatever. It's what they think the military is? Yeah. In the video, he's asked to pretend to do sit-ups in a room with various other men who are allegedly having a, quote, hot dog party. The video was meant to poke fun at homosexuals, and Mr. Roper participated in the video against his will and as a condition of his employment. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of times like when Steven Crowder had a skit where they're poking fun at somebody or somebody has to play the ass of the joke. I'm sure it's uncomfortable, but if you're all in a good, healthy situation, especially if there's comedians and there's supposed to be a certain level of levity, I don't think that this isn't necessarily like that big of a deal. But the part that is a little bit weirder is still coming. It says the video has been seen by thousands of persons on the internet, much to Mr. Roper's embarrassment and humiliation. So on or about August 15th, so like about 1 month after he starts working there, all right, Evan Hafer called Mr. Roper into his office. In front of Mr. Roper and several other people in his office, Mr. Hafer stripped down all his clothes and stood in front of Mr. Roper completely naked. Mr. Hafer acted as if he expected some sort of response out of Mr. Roper. Instead, Mr. Roper averted his eyes and tried to turn the conversation back to work. Several days later, Mr. Roper and Mr. Hafer were working alone in a conference room when Mr. Hafer turned to Mr. Roper and said, "Why don't we close the door and butt fuck the shit out of each other?" Mr. Roper rejected the sexual proposition and the meeting continued in awkward tension. Yeah, exactly, Invictus. He could have quit. That's one of those things where I'm like, the whole video thing, I don't honestly think is that big of a deal. But this has taken a whole another turn towards something really weird. After Mr. Roper had rejected Mr. Hafer's advances and failed to comment upon Mr. Hafer's nude body, Mr. Hafer became openly hostile to Mr. Roper. By approximately early September, so July, August, September, so you got like just 2 months, Mr. Hafer started calling Mr. Roper Mountain Jew, as a derogatory term because he was one of the few Latter-day Saints in the office. Mr. Hafer started being very mean and hateful towards Mr. Roper in front of other employees. The funny thing about that is Evan is Jewish, and in his New York Times interview, he pointed out that he had to deal with anti-Semitism and racism because of his Jewish ethnicity. Okay, so it gets better. And this is part of that dude bro thing, okay? While at the strip club. So apparently, this is here's the difference between like buddies and people who like have a YouTube show together and something that's an actual corporation, a business that's eventually going to end up on the stock market. Now, 2017, 2016, they weren't on the stock market yet, I don't think, but there's still, you're a company with employees that you have to follow the law, and sexual harassment laws exist for a reason, right? It's not just men versus women, male against male sexual harassment is still a thing, regardless of whether we acknowledge it as sexual harassment or just like crossing the line or hazing or whatever you want to call it, right? Coffee company? I don't know. Apparently, they all like to get their beans out, apparently. So, yeah. So, this is an actual... Right. So this is an actual allegation. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean I'm not saying it's factual at all. I'm just pointing out that between what Black Rifle has done publicly, with what they've said, with the things that have come out, now we have like the stock, the shareholder fraud, all this other stuff. Now on top of that, we have this. Unless it's complete dogpiling by people who hate them and they're all coordinated together, which seems really far-fetched, there's at least some shred of some of this that's got to be true. Like even if it's a small part of it, there's something to it. So further down, because it skips from like 19 to 35 here, so I don't know what was missed in the court filings. While at the strip club, Mr. Bollinger was not satisfied with Mr. Roper simply being in the club, but insisted on paying for him to have a private dance. Mr. Roper was humiliated and embarrassed, but did not want to be seen as more of an outsider than he was and endured the events. Rather than help him fit in more, the strip club outing became a source of yet more sexual harassment. Mr. Evans made the comment to him that the strip club was the first time Mr. Roper had probably ever seen a vagina up close. Mr. Roper is divorced with 5 children. Mr. Roper was humiliated in front of all his coworkers by this comment. And again, like, if it's legitimate, if it's true, I don't care that they're 2 guys. You're an employee, he's your boss. This crosses so many fucking lines, it's not even funny. Like... let's see. Oh yeah, let's get to Matt Best here. In February 2017, because this dude literally, I think he lasted like, I think he quit in March. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think he left in March, so he made it like 7 months or something. In February 2017, Matt Best, another owner of BRCC, openly teased Mr. Roper because he had never had anal sex with a woman. This took place in the workplace in front of other employees, and it horrified and embarrassed Mr. Roper horribly. During this time, Mr. Roper started to withdraw from his family. He started feeling depressed and easily angered at home. The stress of being constantly ridiculed at work for his perceived lack of sexual experience and being repeatedly called a mountain Jew was taking its toll on Mr. Roper. In March 2017, he was moved from handling the finances and HR responsibilities for the company. Mr. Roper was told that he was being moved from HR because he was constantly chastising middle and upper management for their workplace behavior, and BRCC did not want to change its culture. So... again, these are allegations. There may be nothing to it. If this was a woman that he was doing this to, it would be a slam dunk lawsuit. Well, that's the thing. There have been allegations from people, and I'm not saying these are credible people. Nicole Arbor, I know this much about from her presence online. I don't know that I would trust her as far as I could throw her, okay? But she is one of the people that has claimed some sort of sexual harassment from these Black Rifle Coffee guys. And if it goes past the point where it's just one random woman, but now you have a man saying that this dude literally dropped his junk in front of me and then asked me to bang the hell out of him, this is a weird work environment. Like, I know that I've got a very, very limited work experience, always having worked with my family, but like, this is something that I tried to find earlier, and I haven't connected the threads yet. I don't know how this Brandon Roper guy got connected to Black Rifle like, I don't know if he was ex-military, I don't know if he knew them, if he was a friend, I don't know if he was just like a friend of a friend who got referred. Clearly he had experience with finances and HR, and he knows how to like run a company, or at least the logistics side of like how to conduct yourself, because he was the one telling these guys, hey, you know, maybe we shouldn't be doing all this stuff, and they're like, hey dude, come over here and suck my dick, basically. I mean, yeah, he was HR. That's the crazy part. They removed him because they didn't like that he was trying to change or enforce the HR policies. That's the crazy part. Like, you hire this man, you sexually harass the HR guy, and then you say, nah, man, we don't want you to change how we do things here. Again, allegedly. I'm not saying that this is confirmed. But if true, it's insane, right? So this article goes through what we already talked about. Brandon Roper accusing Black Rifle Coffee, some very graphic and disturbing sexual harassment. Yeah. So Revolver, I've probably seen one article on Revolver before. I'm not sure. I'm assuming they lean right, seeing as they're on all these like alt tech, you know, Gab and Truth Social and Parler and all that. So let's assume that they're right leaning, right? Especially based on the way that they portray Black Rifle Coffee. They say in the article here, Black Rifle Coffee is once again in the news for all the wrong reasons. This time, a former employee by the name of Brandon Roper is accusing Black Rifle founder and CEO Evan Hafer of some very graphic, disturbing sexual harassment conduct. This probably won't come as a surprise to anybody, as Black Rifle has been circling the drain for quite some time now. Well, I don't think it's fair to say that sexual harassment would not come as a surprise because a company is doing poorly. I don't think every company that's suffering is because of sexual harassment. But anyways, about 10 months ago, Revolver published a brilliant and explosive expose on the so-called conservative coffee gurus. The piece, titled How Black Rifle Coffee Used Every Trick in the Book to Fool Conservatives, artfully revealed how this cliche group of gun-toting, Bible-thumping, cop-loving veterans were not very conservative after all. Which I think, again, a lot of people assumed was... I'm not saying don't buy Black Rifle Coffee either. Like I said, I mean, even after the whole thing, I was like... I didn't make the active choice not to buy Black Rifle because of this article. I had bought their coffee one time, thought it tasted good, but it was a little expensive. That was the only thing. Okay, yeah, I figured right-leaning based on the way that they talk about them in this. So they go on. This is from their previous article 10 months ago. Here's a quote from it. In many ways, the imagery that Black Rifle indulges is actively harmful. Male to female transsexuals famously have a cartoonish, porn-influenced, stereotypical idea of what being a woman is like. Very based take, by the way. That's why drag queens have such a garish, over-the-top look. BRCC ads evoke the same idea, but for men. This is a very interesting way that they've... I read this earlier. It's really kind of an interesting take. Their target demographic is, in a sense, male-to-male transsexuals. The ads reduce veterans from citizen soldiers to a pantomime of desperate masculinity, guys who need tattoos, whiskey, and 27 different guns to feel like, quote, real men. BRCC ads are supposed to trigger snowflake liberals, but they'd be just as crass and ridiculous to a World War II veteran in 1946. Which I think is kind of the point that I was making earlier. I don't think the pretty boy, big muscle, tattooed, gun-toting, yeehaw, blowing shit up, America kind of thing, I don't think that appeals to most people who have actually served in the military. And I could be wrong. I've never been in the military. But I can tell you from all my family members that have had their military, none of them are that way. Like, at all. None of them fits that mold. So it says the Revolver piece revealed, among other things, how Black Rifle Coffee has more in common with the left than they do the right. BRCC trusts the New York Times, throws the word racist around willy-nilly, and tossed young Kyle Rittenhouse under the bus. So this is an excerpt from the whole New York Times article. Oh, no, sorry, this is from Revolver's article about Black Rifle 10 months ago. I think they do have the Kyle Rittenhouse thing on here. Maybe they don't. Oh, well, most of us here know, and if not, you can kind of like catch up. The whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing, he just said basically that after Kyle Rittenhouse was, a picture was taken of him with a Black Rifle Coffee t-shirt on, and Elijah Schaefer had retweeted it. And all of a sudden, everyone's like, oh my God, Kyle Rittenhouse, this murderer, he drinks Black Rifle Coffee. The guys from Black Rifle said, oh no, we don't endorse or support him in any way, basically. And it was like, I get why they did it. I think there was probably a more tactful way to do it. They probably could have done it and saved face at the same time. They could have said, well, look, hopefully things work out for the kid, but he's not actually sponsored by Black Rifle. I mean, something. There was tactful ways to do it. I don't know. I feel like that this company, because these guys, clearly they know how to make money. Because if their company is still worth $1.7 billion, I don't know, they've been financially hurting for a while since a lot of this shit came out. But if they're still worth over $1 billion, obviously these guys know how to make money, but clearly they don't know how to properly run a business, at least as far as like the HR side of things. And I'm not even saying that I like the whole idea of an HR department. Most time when you see HR, it's like these frivolous lawsuits and stuff that are involved. But there is something to the fact that you have to have a certain code of conduct, even if you don't want to be like a big corporation, if you don't want to be like have the ESG and all the diversity hire, and if you just want to hire good people based on merit that work at a company, and you're not doing it based on sexual orientation or ethnicity, just people that are qualified to do the job, that's great. But you do still have to run a company where you respect your employees, where you don't cross those boundaries. And if any of this is true, these guys just don't know how to fucking be bosses. They think that everybody is like one of their bros from the military, and that's just not the way life works. You're in a company now. You have employees. You can't drop your pants and show your employee your dick. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. So anyways, that's just my own little rant. Yeah, that's quite a claim there. I don't know if I buy into that or not. I don't know. Again, it's unsubstantiated. You can say anything. Maybe it happened. Maybe they had to denounce him, whatever. But I don't know. It still seems like pretty weak sauce in my opinion. Yeah. Well, that apology came too little too late in my opinion. Battered, denounced, vilified, imperiled, but unbroken, Kyle Rittenhouse celebrated his first day out on bail by posing for a photo wearing one of the company's branded t-shirts. The Blaze's Elijah Schaefer then tweeted out the photo with the caption, "Kyle Rittenhouse drinks the best coffee in America." This was the tweet that I was talking about. The tweet was undeniably a PR hiccup for Black Rifle, since it gave the impression Black Rifle was sponsoring Rittenhouse's defense when it was not. I don't think that gives the impression. When did companies, even conservative, right-leaning, pro-military companies, when did you get this impression that if a customer consumes a product, that the customer and the company are aligned? This is the thing. This is what I don't understand. For the longest time, everyone's known that Hollywood is left-wing radicalized, that it's crazy left-wing, that it's a bunch of elitist millionaires pretending to give a shit about the environment and social causes, acting and playing through life, making millions off of our entertainment dollars, and they can shit all over conservatives, and as most conservatives will still give them money because, I'm getting entertainment, okay? Conservatives have rationalized and said, I don't care about your politics, I can separate the art from the artist, just give me a good movie to watch. Now we don't even have that, but it used to be that you could separate the art from the artist and say, oh boy, that new Michael Douglas movie was great. Yeah, he's a wacko, but great movie. We don't even get that nowadays. Nowadays the movies suck, and the left never learned how to separate the art from the artist. Especially when it's not even their art. Nobody that was like far lefty was buying Black Rifle coffee anyways, so nobody on the far left should have cared if Kyle Rittenhouse was sponsored by Black Rifle coffee. Black Rifle should have never had to come out and say, oh no, he's not sponsored by us. Again, art meet artist. Like, literally, Kyle Rittenhouse buys a t-shirt. So the fuck what? Did Black Rifle send him that t-shirt? No. It's insane. People are just nuts. It's not hard to employ people that are good for your livelihood. Yeah. I mean, literally just hire people that are good at a job or that are trainable. Trainable. Literally, I had this conversation on Twitter with somebody about how you can say that, McDonald's working fast food is not skilled labor. I don't think that's that hot of a take. Definitely you need somebody who's able to be trainable to do a good job of it, but it's not labor that's required to have much in the way of skills going for you, right? Truck driving, because this guy made this comparison between truck driving and McDonald's. Truck driving, I think, is almost, I'm not going to call truck driving unskilled labor because most people can't drive a truck. But the difference is, I think anybody who's trainable should be trainable to develop most basic skills, whether it's truck driving or plumbing or electrical, whatever you decide to get into. That comes down to you being trainable, being able to train your skills. It's not that per se driving a vehicle, driving a long haul trucker, or I don't know. And I'm not saying truck driving is easy. I could never do it, and I'm a trainable person, but I've never had the interest in truck driving, right? But I'm that kind of person where if I need to learn something, I can learn whatever I need to. Like I can take the time and learn the skill to do the thing. McDonald's or fast food is not that same kind of way. It doesn't require somebody to be trainable. Because look at the people that they have working for them. It's not a skill-based job. It's just not. So yeah, I mean, hiring and employees, we've hired, anytime my family business hired people that were not part of the family, you didn't get the amount of effort, you didn't get the passion, you didn't get the speed, and a lot of times we hired people that were just not trainable. Let's see. Hoping Godzilla vs. Kong 2 is good. At least monsters can be unless there's monsters that can change their gender. Name another job where a child can do a better job than someone that has done it in their entire life. Acting is not that cool. Paid liars, more or less. Yeah, exactly. Oh, no. Truck drivers has a very hard job. I'm not saying it's not a hard job. I'm not saying it's an easy job. I'm talking about, for example, like, compare working at McDonald's to, like, computer programming, you know? You still have to go through years of education to get really good at computer programming. And yeah, you have to go through years of driving to be really good at driving. No, I'm not comparing the level of work required. For example, let me do this. I grew up, my family had a bakery. We worked some days that were 24-hour days. We had days that I was working 18 hours straight. That was a job that anybody that's trainable can do, but it was not an easy job. And I think truck driving is the same way. It's not an easy job. But I think if you're trainable, you should be able to learn how to do it. That's my point. Godzilla 2014. The only one I saw was Godzilla vs. Kong. The last Godzilla movie on its own that I watched was the Matthew Broderick one. That they were supposed to have a sequel to and never did. And it was a shit movie, but it was fun. I don't know. Going with that French guy, Jean Rousseau, I think his name was. So yeah, the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, we all kind of know about that. That's old news. So I don't like the fact that Revolver is using Nicole Arbor as evidence, I guess, because Nicole Arbor, it sounds like she's had a sexual harassment claim against everybody in the conservative side of things. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to shit on truck drivers. My personal experience with truck drivers, I have an ex-stepdad who is dumb as a rock. I'm talking the man, I think he probably got kicked in the head by a mule or something at some point. Like, he was completely out of it. He'd fall asleep randomly. He had nothing intelligent to offer to a conversation. He suffered from like a narcissistic personality disorder, and he was very emotionally disconnected. But he could drive a truck because he did it for years and he learned how to do it. So I'm just saying, it doesn't mean that it's a easy job or that it doesn't take like a lot more work than like fast food. The point about this conversation was that trainable people should be able to learn to do things regardless of whether it's computer programming or truck driving or working in a bakery, which was my personal experience there. If you're trainable, whatever they plug you into, you should be able to learn how to do. And that's where I hate the way that things have gone with like ESG and shit and the whole diversity, equity, inclusion. It's completely cut out the meritocracy of everything. It's gotten to where you can't find somebody who's a good, hardworking, ethical, trainable person just based on that alone. You have to go find somebody for a quota, which sucks. Watch on a 4K home setup. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. You mean, was Scarlet Witch a standalone movie? The only Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver I remember was the one from, well, you know, that turned into WandaVision, which was terrible. So in a new twist, Canadian model Nicole Arbor, who appeared in ads for the company... Oh, there it is. Okay. There's the connection. I was wondering how the hell she was connected to Black Rifle. In a new twist, Canadian model Nicole Arbor, who appeared in ads for the company, recently made public harassment allegations against members of Black Rifle Coffee. Nicole shared the link to the recent lawsuit filed by Brandon Roper in reference to her own alleged abuse in a tweet. But Nicole, why didn't you file an actual lawsuit? I get it. If she had, at the time, people would have said that she was a liar and just a whore and this and that, which I hate that. I hate that people do this nowadays. It's like, just let the lawsuit shake out. Stop calling people names before the lawsuits even had a chance to like go to court and go to a judge. Although Nicole Arbor, again, she does seem kind of fishy. Not gonna lie. She kind of has. I didn't watch Doctor Strange 2. I was so excited. Doctor Strange of the MCU phases, 1, 2, and 3. Doctor Strange was like my favorite Marvel movie. And I didn't grow up reading comic books. I knew the characters roughly from like TV, and I watched superhero movies, and I watched the X-Men movies and shit. But like Doctor Strange, that movie for me, hands down, I think is probably one of the best Marvel movies. You can watch it on its own. It doesn't have to be connected to the rest of the MCU. It is just a fantastic movie, right? So I was hyped for Doctor Strange 2. I haven't watched it. I have not watched it. I got done with WandaVision. I found out that they cut Doctor Strange out of WandaVision because of the fact that he's a straight white man and they can't have him explain to Wanda how to use her abilities. They made her the villain, then she saves herself, and then apparently in WandaVision, or in Doctor Strange 2, she's still the villain, but she steals the show from him and he kind of gets sidelined. Like, screw it, I'm done. I'm just done. Versus Marilyn Manson were found false. I heard about that from Evan Rachel Wood, right? Yeah. I saw something about that. Much better of a talking point than BRCC. Oh yeah, we're wrapping up with BRCC at this point. To be fair, there was evidence before, but not from someone who had participated in the hoax. Okay. Yeah, but again, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. Yeah, this Brandon Roper guy, even has on his LinkedIn that he has founded his own like software company and stuff in the last 5 years or whatever. Oh my god, this is hilarious. People also viewed Scott Larson. This guy works for a place that I buy glass from, Veritiv Corporation. My family's business, we buy bottles from this company. It is a small freaking world. Holy crap. That is hilarious. All right. So, this is spicy. I don't even know. Where did my other tweet go on this? All I have is the one tweet. I wonder if I can find a video. I need to find a video of Scott Adams. I just search, it's going to bring up the results, right? Okay, here we go. Scott Adams has become a meme for noticing the things you're not supposed to notice. Yeah. Well, okay, so he got in big trouble because of the fact that, I guess during a live stream, he brought up the fact that according to new polling data from Rasmussen, what is it, like 26% of black people polled said that they think that being white is a bad thing, or they believe that being white is not. I don't know how is it worded. I wish I could find a video of this. I was afraid to look it up because I'm like, damn, I don't want to put anything too spicy on here. Sterling Partners funded them. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I was not gonna watch Doctor Strange 2. I'm done. I didn't watch Shang-Chi. I didn't watch Doctor Strange 2. My wife and I, we watched She-Hulk just for the laughs because it was so bad. He basically said that anti-whiteism is a thing. Yeah, that's what I gained from it. That's what I gathered from it. Isn't it funny that racism is trending? I guarantee Scott Adams is at the very top. Oh, hell no. I remember this video. This video about critical race theory. Where they ask these people what exactly are white people superior at, and they say, like, nothing. Okay, I gotta find a video of what Scott Adams actually said. Man nabbed for Bronx rape allegedly said she deserved it for slavery. Dude, they're literally just putting Scott Adams into everything. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's just listen to this.
Are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me.
So hang on. It wasn't 50%. So the way it worked out, he kind of lumped it together. So it was 26%, I believe, that said that it was bad to be white, basically. And then it was like 23, or it worked out to about like half that were either undecided or said it was bad. Then it was like 56%. So I think it was like 26 and 21. I don't know. Whatever the split was, it was about 50% that said it was either bad or that they were undecided on it. In my opinion, I hate the framing of the question because whiteness is not a thing. I'm sorry. They've tried to say that whiteness is being on time to work, working hard, which is a horribly racist thing to say. Saying that being on time and working hard is a white trait is horribly racist against anybody who's not white. Furthermore, like the most successful people in this country are Asian typically, so it's completely bogus. But even worse than that, then they were like, how you define whiteness? Like all ethnicities from Europe are not the same. Like anybody who's from Europe, who's ethnically European, there's other than being from Europe, there's nothing connecting them. Like culturally, they're all very different, vastly different. Different languages, different histories. So this whole idea of trying to define blackness and whiteness, it's like it's as racist to say that there's such a thing as blackness as there is whiteness, right? It's horribly bigoted. But yeah, so I think it was, he combined the two statistics into about 50%.
According to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go.
I think to a certain degree, people didn't catch that there was a little bit of tongue-in-cheek to that, because he's not saying, he knew how it was going to sound. Honest to God, he didn't say this without knowing what was going to happen, okay? They're trying to cancel Dilbert now. They're trying to boycott him. He knew the reaction he was going to get, but if he didn't say it like this, he wasn't going to get a reaction. I mean, I 100% believe that. The way it was framed, the way he said it, where he says straight up, get away from black people, he's not saying, if you see a black person on the street, turn the other way and run away. He's talking about communities of people that don't like you. He's talking about communities of people that commit crimes at a disproportionate rate against another group of people. That's what he's talking about. But he said it in the way that he did to evoke a reaction, which is exactly what happened.
Just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population.
And again, sounds bad.
It
sounds bad.
High correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living.
I wish he wouldn't have quoted Don Lemon,
where
though.
You live and who's there.
Not Don Lemon, come on.
So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't.
I see there's phrasing there that I don't really understand. I don't understand the phrasing of, I get what he's saying. It's like the idea that, why would you help somebody who hates you? Okay, I understand that. The people blowing this out of proportion have never watched him his videos. They don't understand his humor or his manner. He's got a very different personality, okay? I swear from following him on Twitter for a couple years, and sometimes he'll have a take where I can't tell if he's serious or if he's just trying to evoke a reaction. I don't know what he means, though. My only question is, what do you mean by don't try to help black people? Because if you're a conservative person, if you're a center-rightist, right-leaning, where you believe small government, take the restrictions away, let people have their businesses, let people actually, grow their business without the government interfering, don't have like all these government interferences and shit that make life harder to live. Well, right there, you're helping black people by taking the gloves, getting the government out of everyone else's business and just saying, hey, let the economy do its thing. Let people do their thing. Let us grow our businesses the way we need to do them. That right there is helping black people. It's helping everybody. So if you're already anti-big government, anti-handouts that keep poor people like relying on the government, it's a weird thing to say, I'm done trying to help black people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's something, I have disconnect pieces to his argument. So, and again, it was a live stream. It's just like I'm doing now. Sometimes you try to say something and it doesn't make sense. And if you don't take the time to think about it, it's going to come out wrong. Fair enough. And he usually has hundreds, if not thousands of people watching him when he's trying to do a live stream. things aren't always going to come out clear and concise. I get that.
Doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white. It's over. Don't even think it's worth trying. Totally not trying. And there we go. You didn't expect that today, did you? But those who don't want to focus on education, you just need to get away from them. Just get as much distance as you can.
And again, I mean, he could have said cities. He could have said get away from the cities, get away from the gangs, get away from the high crime areas. But again, there's this unfortunate disconnect, and I've seen this before, and it drives me nuts because people do this whole thing where they go, if you don't mention ethnicity with rate of crime, then you could say like poverty. But if you don't connect that there's high ethnic minority areas that are typically lower income that result in higher crime, then you're missing half the information. Like if you don't connect those threads, then how are you ever going to address it? How are you ever going to change it? How are you going to fix it? You have to go through all the pieces. You can't just say, well, of course, lower income areas have higher crime. Okay. Oh, but then why are all these black people in prison? Well, they come from a lot of like lower income areas. Well, whose fault is that? Well, okay, you can go through all the steps and you can try to figure out what the initial cause was and why they're still there and why the crimes keep rising and why they haven't gotten into a better situation. And there's multiple pieces to it. There's multiple layers. But I think what he's doing is saying the really quiet part really fucking loud. Leave the left like Bill Maher, but doesn't want to apologize and doesn't want to join the right, so he's canceling himself on purpose, but he backtracked again. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, hi, Leona. I forgot to say hi to you earlier. That was you that was commenting about BRCC. Yeah, so, yeah, there's something there. I think Scott Adams, I feel like from everything I've heard from him that he's definitely more right of center than left, but I definitely feel like there's maybe some left-wing tendencies that he's kind of clung on to, especially if he has been more like in big city progressive liberal areas. Maybe he's had a longer time spent around people who are more liberal. I don't know. I don't know the man. I know him from his cartoons. That's it. And from seeing some stuff from him on Twitter. But people then started sharing, is it this one here? In response to this? Maybe, okay, hang on a second. This one's longer.
According to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. Away from black people, away. Because there's in the density. This is according to Don Lemon. Even Don Lemon sees a big part of America to try to help blacks be the only outcome. It makes no sense not trying. And there we go.
It's got to have it at the end, I guess.
But every damn day, I look on social media and there's some black person beating the shit out of some white person. I'm kind of over it. I'm over it. Right?
Okay, so that was the part that was missing from there. And I was thinking about this earlier because statistically, if you look at first off, I hate the term hate crime. Hate crime is a horrible term. Crimes, especially let's say you rape somebody, let's say you murder somebody, let's say you kill someone in cold blood. How is that not a hate crime? Like, any time that you take an act of evil against somebody else out of hatred, it's a hate crime. So to separate, quote, hate crimes from actual violent crimes is the most idiotic thing we could ever do in this country. And that's where you get the idea that you can do nothing physically against somebody but be guilty of a hate crime by hate speech, right? Hate crimes, hate speech. I hate the entire freaking concept. It all sucks. So, yeah, Trump's not really a righty either. Trump's, like, don't get me wrong, I'm still okay with Trump running again. You know, him or DeSantis, there's pros and cons to either one. I don't think we're ever going to have a perfect candidate, to be honest. But I'm not I didn't love Trump in 2016. I voted for him to keep Hillary out. Then after 4 years of Trump, minus the whole COVID lockdown, which we thought was going to end if Trump got reelected, right? We all thought that was going to go away if he got reelected, right? I voted for Trump because I was happy with the way things went for 3 years prior to the riots and all that. My family's business had more money coming in than ever. We had more money in our savings. My wife was doing great on her Etsy shop she has. We were doing very well. We were in a position to go into 2020 and buy a house. We were doing well. Here we are 3 years later, still in the same apartment we were in when the lockdowns happened. So for me, that's my rationale for voting Trump. The border wall was getting built. We didn't start any new wars. There was the bump stock ban. I didn't know enough about the time to realize what a shitty thing that was that Trump did. But, nobody's perfect. By today's standards, he is. True, okay, I mean, yes, by today's standards, he is definitely right-wing. But my thing is, I don't trust any of these people. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Like, there was a large contingent of conservatives that thought Trump was a actual Christian evangelical. And I don't know the man personally. I don't know if he actually has any religious conviction, and I don't care. That's between Trump and God. I don't care. But people trying to convince themselves that he's like this devout evangelical, it's like, I've never seen anything from him that speaks to that, and I don't care if he is. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times with Trump, people tried to build him into whatever they wanted him to be, which is really funny because the man is like, he's going to do what he wants to do. It's crazy. Where was the thread that I originally found? Hang on. You're run by Trudeau. Oh, well, okay. Now, put it in context. If I were in Canada and it was between Trump and Trudeau, yeah, I'd be saying Trump for King of Canada. Like, no doubt, no question there. There's absolutely no question. So in this original thread from this dude, Dan Lyman, here we go. This thread has it. Okay. So here was the Rasmussen reports, Black Americans only. It's okay to be white. Okay to be white. 53% agreed, 26% disagreed, and 21% were not sure. So it wasn't about whiteness, okay? Now, okay to be white, I guess you could say maybe they're saying, is it okay to embody whiteness? That's kind of a stretch, maybe. But if that's how they interpreted it, fine, whatever. But no, the poll just says it's okay to be white, and 26% disagreed, and 21% said, I'm not sure. So that's literally 47% of people saying it's either not okay or you don't know how you feel about it. That's a big problem. Big percentage. If you ask me, is it okay to be black? Duh, you're black. How can you control that? Of course it's okay to be black. That's a no-brainer. Now, if you want to say black culture or blackness, I'm going to go, well, what do you mean by that? Define that for me. Like, I don't know, define that. But where is this? There's another slide that I found. So I haven't verified this. It says Bureau of Justice Statistics National Crime Victimization Survey from 2018. I don't know if this is legit, so please don't quote me on this. But according to this poll right here, this actual bar graph, and again, you need to factor in first, the largest majority of people that commits crime against white people is other white people. Same with blacks, same with Latinos. It all goes the same way. Hispanic people commit most crimes against Hispanics, Asians against Asians, etc., right? It's not cool to say white pride but any other color in front. Yeah, no, you're not allowed to be proud that you're white. That's a big no-no. And to be honest, I'm not proud that I'm white. If I did a genealogy, is it genealogy? No, not genealogy. That's like your lineage. Like an actual ethnic makeup kit, like that 23andMe thing you could do. I have a grandfather who's 100% Sicilian. He was born in 1900. He came through Ellis Island. So I know that I'm 100%, at least 25% of my genetics are Sicilian. Okay, that's cool. So could I say I'm proud to have Sicilian heritage? I guess, if I knew what Sicilian heritage was, if I knew anything about Sicilian customs or culture. But I don't think that would bother anybody if I said, oh, I'm proud to be Sicilian. Well, Italians are pretty dark, but they're still considered white nowadays, right? So replace Sicilian with white. I go, oh, well, I'm proud of my white culture. Instantly, I'm a racist or a bigot or a supremacist. And it's go, what? But I'm Sicilian. Oh, but you said white. Okay, well, I meant that. It's all how you word it, right? It's all a fucking word game. Yeah, but again, American is not a race. American is a culture. America used to have a cohesive culture, and I've been saying this for like 20 years now. When I grew up, because I was born in '86, and I was, product of the '90s. I still had a mullet though in the early '90s, so I definitely had some '80s influence. I grew up on the music my parents listened to. I grew up on the oldies. I grew up on Frank Sinatra. I grew up on the Beatles. I grew up on the Mamas and the Papas. I grew up on all this stuff that my parents listened to in their generation. I watched movies from the 50s and the 80s. There was this level of respect for the culture that came before me, where I absorbed and enjoyed all the things that my parents' generations enjoyed, because that was them passing their culture on to us. My son, who's 10, has a Spotify playlist that he likes to listen to that is all like 90s country music, stuff that I grew up listening. So in that way, he's doing much the same thing that I did with my parents. He's enjoying the things that I did as a kid or listened to as a kid. I feel like America doesn't do that anymore. We no longer have a cultural identity. America used to have a cohesive culture. You know, it was Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin and Bing Crosby. It's like, we don't have that anymore. John Wayne was the actor. Everyone loved John Wayne, right? And John Wayne couldn't act to save his life. That's not the point. What is being American anymore? It went from being we were a melting pot where we turned into this gigantic thing called America to where now we're just a massive land with a bunch of different people that hate each other all living on it. The Godfather movie, yeah, exactly. Well, I know for sure because my mom's dad was 100% Sicilian, and then her mom was half Irish, half Dutch. Okay. My dad's side, oh no. Heinz 57, anything that crawled under the fence. I'm talking my dad's heritage is all over the place. His father claimed to be like Cherokee, but these people were short, fat, white, big ears, not Native American at all. So I don't know. So anyways, going back to this chart here. Incidents per 100,000 offender population, right? So just going off the basic, let's just use ballpark numbers. 300 million Americans, and what is it? I think it's like 15% African American. Could be less than that. And again, it's like small percentage commits half the violent crimes. And again, there's debatable reasons that for the cause of that. I don't want to get into the whole what causes the high percentage of black males to commit violent crimes. That's a whole separate topic, and you can argue about that till you're blue in the face. Reality is now that half the violent crimes are committed by a certain small percentage of the population. This chart, if accurate from 2018, basically shows that a white person is 42.3 times more likely to be attacked by a black person than a black person by a white person. If true, that is frightening. Same with Hispanic on white at 20.4, it looks like. Okay? That's all we need to make America great again. Is it possible though? Like honestly. Because it's not just an ethnic thing. It is a cultural thing. It is 100%. It doesn't matter if it's black kids or white kids. It doesn't matter if it's Hispanic kids. None of the Generation Z kids have any respect for anything that came before them. They all think capitalism's bad. Look, children nowadays, not just Gen Z, but the next generation, my kids, have more than I had growing up. They have more than my parents had growing up. But they think that they have it so fucking bad. They think that I can't buy this and I can't wear that and my friends have this, but I don't have that. It's insane. Most are males, so it's about 6%. Right, okay, yeah, so about 6%, because we all know that men commit far more violent crimes than women. So again, the problem isn't just one ethnic group of young people. It's our young people across the board, and you can blame TikTok, you can blame social media, you can blame the movies, you can blame Hollywood, you can blame music, you can blame all these things that might be factors, and it may be true. But how do you fix it? That's the hard part. How do you get a culture that no longer gives a shit about where it came from? I mean, you go back 50 years, people that went through like or 70 years now, I guess, if you're doing like the 1950s, 60s, civil rights era, at least 60 years. And you have people that were descendants of people that had been slaves, even like their grandparents had maybe been slaves, even after the Civil War, because it took a while to actually free all the slaves. Like, don't be deceived. Apparently, Abraham Lincoln was a scumbag. You got to look that up, though. It's frightening. I found out so much more about him than I ever wanted to know. Long story short, though, we have people that were grateful to be American. American, not black, not white, nobody, and they had been the ancestors of slaves, and they just embraced it as we are all here together. We are all Americans, right? Why do we have this cultural divide now, 60 years later? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Rome lasted a hell of a lot longer than 250, and they controlled proportionally. I mean, America may be a larger body of land than the entire area of the Roman Empire, but as far as quality of what they controlled, Rome controlled the whole known world at one point. Granted, they didn't know about Japan, but still. Most people who commit crimes don't have a father. Right. 12 years of employing people from around the world to work in the oil industry in northern Canada. One group did not really work out. Slave vampires. No, so you can thank the idea of the suspension of civil liberties and rights. You can thank Abraham Lincoln for that. That didn't exist prior to Abraham Lincoln. The president would not do that. So he was essentially America's first dictator. Did you also know that this is something that, even though I had a very good education growing up, kind of a messy education going from public school to private school to homeschool, but like I learned a lot. But apparently Abraham Lincoln, in the Emancipation Proclamation, it is stated that it does not free any slaves in the North. And apparently, according to, sorry, I'm going to scratch your throat. According to European diplomats that would come over to America, when they surveyed the situation that the slaves lived in, slaves were taken better care of in the South than they were in northern states. So Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation only freed the slaves in territories that he didn't have current control over. And then in Sherman's March to the Sea, they killed thousands of slaves who even in turn were fighting with the South against the North because Sherman was just butchering everybody. It was a mess. Only thing I know about Lincoln is he slayed vampires. Look at what happened to them, the decline of their culture and monetary system. Right, so what I do remember about ancient history was that, it's ancient history, first of all, but Rome started to have problems when their family structure fell apart. The more they got into like cultural degradation, and the less they were able to maintain and keep the enemies out of their gates. I mean, that was the way it worked. If the barbarian's at the gate, you got to have strong men that are willing to fight them, and that's just the way it works. That's why Japan was so scary for so long. You land on their shores, they fucking kill you, you know? Not saying I endorse that kind of mentality, but it was effective. Definitely worked for them for a long time. So, I mean, yeah, you can go after chart, the same kind of thing. And again, these are just clips that I'm sure he went in more detail about why he feels the way that he feels. Funny. Someone shared this. What can I say? This gal, what would the world be without black people? I don't think anyone's asking that question. That's the thing. Why does it always go so extreme, too? It's like, I don't know. Well, are we talking Spain when they were conquered by the Turks? That was the Turks, right? And then, didn't the Turks control Spain for like almost 100 years or something like that? And then El Cid kicked him back out? I can't remember. My history is a little fuzzy. Decadence, moral or cultural decline is characterized by excessive indulgence in pleasure or luxury. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Being dumb, fat, and happy, right? Let's see. The boomer take on a lack of black success in America has always been some form of the opportunities are there, but they were tricked out of it. They weren't. They're just not impressive people. Unimpressive people. Oh, see, I hate these kind of takes. I don't. People that just go straight after someone for their ethnicity. I'm like, You know, I'm not going there. I'm sorry. I believe all people are born with a certain level of capability to commit evil, but a certain capability to excel. And a large part of it has to do with nurture, how you're raised, the parents you have at home, the morals that you're taught, the values that you're given. But, you know, just to boil it down to just person A has peach skin, therefore good, I don't know about that. So this is another one that I found. I can't quite make it out. It says data sources, American National Election Studies from 2021. I've never seen this one before. Oh yeah, may not be the main issue, but decadence definitely is an issue. Well, and decadence of the young generation. So we have decadence in the millennials and Gen Xers, where either they're tired and they're just raising their kids and they don't want to be bothered by all this social media crap and all this crap going on in our country, or the Gen Zers and younger that are just lazy. I mean, you see all the TikToks about how they don't want to work, right? Right, Invictus, but for some reason, that's one of those things that has been labeled whiteness. When the reality is, black families didn't become single-parent homes until like 30, 40 years ago. It didn't used to be a thing. It wasn't a cultural thing to have the absent father in the black homes. It just was not a thing. So this one was how racial groups rate each other. And this is really interesting. I don't know what to extrapolate from this because there's a lot of different ways you can interpret it. From white respondents, basically they have the mean rating of white people, mean rating of black people, the mean ratings of Hispanics, and the mean ratings of Asians. White people kind of put everybody right here in the same bar. And kind of like you can see the white people are kind of bumped a tiny bit ahead of everybody else. I'm surprised they have Asians behind Hispanics. I mean, typically, I know there's a lot of like obnoxious Asian jokes and stuff, but Asians are regarded as like the other white meat in this country, the way things are. Main issue is ignorance. That is a big part of it. Social media is pushing decadence through celebrity culture and worship. The masses follow them. Yeah, that too. Honestly, the celebrity worship, and that's where you get into the young, lazy people who don't want to work, who hate their job, who hate capitalism, who hate everything they're told to hate, and they don't want to have to put in the effort to get what the celebrities have. They don't want to put in the effort to get that new car. They just want those things handed to them. And if you don't have them, they're going to find a way to take it from you. And that's why you see such a incredible level of violence in young people out in public, where they attack people at fucking fast food restaurants. These videos where they're trashing restaurants, I'm like, where the hell are your parents? You know? Yeah, Mark Dice. Ooh, I like Mark Dice. So among black respondents, this is one of those ones that has probably the biggest disparity. Now, guys, check this one out. So it says the mean rating of whites. You see us down here at the bottom, far left side of the graph, mean ratings of blacks. Far right side over here. The gap in between these two is astronomical. Now, I'm not sure how many people were polled. I want to try to find this after I get done tonight. Maybe I'll go back and see if I can find this to verify it, because I don't want to spread shit like this around if this is an actual survey that was conducted by a legitimate group, right? But it works this way too when you see all the other ethnicities polled, black, Hispanic, and Asian, have white at the bottom of their ratings. So they'll rate every other ethnicity worse than them, but white is somehow at the very bottom. So if nothing else, if this is true, it does give you a little glimpse into the mentality of what Scott Adams is talking about. It's kind of like this whole Matt Walsh thing, okay? Matt Walsh, people have given him shit for being too mean. Well, he's calling out people who he believes are his ideological enemies, right? People who hate you for who you are, people that hate you for your values, people that hate you for your opinion, hate you for your ethics, and hate you for the way that you're living your life. How do you reason with people who hate you? Well, it's not productive to hate them back, first of all. You're not supposed to hate people that you don't know. That's a idiotic way of living. However, you don't necessarily have to subject yourself to people who hate you. So if there is a way to remove yourself from living around people who do hate you, That's a far more productive way to live your life. It doesn't sound pretty when he says, get away from black people. But if what he's saying is, if there's a city with a high percentage of black people or white people or Asian people or whatever who hate another ethnic group and you're part of that group, get out of there. I mean, I watched a video earlier of some dude wandered into a convenience store and shot the shop owner in the head, and his kid runs out from behind the counter and goes running out. It's like, guy didn't care. He might have been on fentanyl. He might have been cracked out of his mind. Who knows? But the way people are interacting with each other nowadays, you have to pull your head out of your ass and stop being blind to the fact that there are definite divisions in our country that even if we try to address them, we might not be able to fix. There may be no way to fix certain amounts of it. You're shocked he stays in California, but he has family there, so you can't blame him too much. I mean, yeah, but that's the hard part, going after your children. Well, good luck getting after mine. My wife and I, we made that decision. Well, we were paying to have our kids in this little private church school where we are, but honestly, I was not happy about the quality of teaching anyways. It was getting too expensive. And then during 2020, when they moved everybody, the fact that these little church schools, they cucked to the government and didn't just say, you know what, we're just going to keep having in-person classes, sanitize everything really well, fine, whatever. But, you know, in person, they started doing Zoom stuff. At this point, my twins were in preschool and my oldest kid was in 2nd grade, and they were doing classes via Zoom. And I was paying $500 a month. No, I think it's $500 per kid. Whatever it was insane. I think it was like $1,500 per month for the 3 of them to do Zoom to a school that's literally 2 minutes from me. And it wasn't even a good education. That's when we decided, you know what? We're just going to homeschool. We're not paying the rest of this tuition. You guys can go screw yourselves. And then we've just kept up the homeschool thing for the last couple of years. And it actually saves money, but you know, you have to have a parent at home. My wife works from home, so that turns out that that's okay, even though homeschool is a massive pain in the ass, let me tell you. It makes you like doubt everything that you've ever thought about yourself as far as like your level of intelligence or your education or your ability to teach somebody else. Homeschool will break you down mentally, emotionally, physically, everything. It is, when your kid gets like an attitude with you when you're just trying to teach them, it's deflating. It's awful. Then it's a different result if you ask other countries the same survey. Yeah, other countries are all very different. Like, you go to places like the UK, and they've done ethnic and racial studies there, where they've determined that the UK is like the least racist place in the country, in the world, least racist Western country in the world. The problem is they're being overrun by a bunch of illegal immigrants from all over the Middle East that are going there and basically like Islamifying the entire country. And the whole gang raping thing, the grooming gangs in the UK is completely out of control. And the UK government, their conservatives make the conservative politicians in this country look like Chads, okay? And we have some real sissies in our conservative government in this country, but the ones in the UK are far worse. They're completely ineffective. Oh no, little kids don't do well on computers, especially when they're in preschool. How do you expect a preschooler to do Zoom? Like, come on. And think about all the kids that are still wearing masks, the kids that aren't seeing facial structure and they're not seeing mouths moving and they're not, like, there's no wonder that there's so much mental illness in this country. Everything our government does makes everyone's mental state worse. Oh, man. Yeah, my oldest kid is 10, and he is my attitude child. I was working with him earlier on some stuff, and my God, he and we butt heads so bad. My twins are 7, turning 8 in May, and my daughter, her and I are like this most of the time, but she's so inquisitive that sometimes she just gets on my nerves because she just asks questions about everything. Her twin brother's way more chill, but way more emotional too. She's way more logical. She's my child that sounds like a teenager when she talks. Let's see, let's go back. And yeah, unfortunately, look, when you have this kind of stuff come out, you do get people to stoke up the racial division more and go, oh yeah, and they start spewing the real racist stuff, and you go, no, this isn't what he was saying. He's using statistics and saying, use your damn brain, use your head, you were given it for a reason. You know, it's one of those things that, this is great. Stop caring, that's literally all you have to do. Just imagine this Pepe every time you get mad, sad, anxious, jealous, etc. That's fantastic. Buy you and your sister piano and violin when we were 3 and 5. Oh man, yeah. Rest in peace, Max. Yeah, Leona, my kids. So my oldest kid, he had a little Santa Claus guitar, but I got to take it to Guitar Center. It was like $50, and the damn thing, I can't tune it because on the neck there's the part where the strings rest. It's like it's not high up enough or too high up where I can't tune the damn thing. The strings just buzz, right? So for his birthday, we got him a decent guitar, and for Christmas they all got a keyboard. And my kids are all learning to play the keyboard, and it's great. Like when they're not on the computer, when they're not doing their schoolwork, when they're not playing outside, they all cycle through the keyboard all day long. And no, they're not playing Mozart or Beethoven, but they're all learning how to play the keyboard. And that's one of those things, having them home, that's the kind of stuff they do. If they were in glorified daycare, which is what most public schools have turned into, I wouldn't have control over what they were learning. I wouldn't have control over who was teaching them, who they were spending time with. I wouldn't know half the things that the teachers weren't telling me, because a lot of times it turns out these teachers lie to the parents, don't tell the parents what's going on. There is a certain level of, no matter how bad you feel like you're failing as a homeschool parent, the things you are able to accomplish definitely outweigh the bad. There are lots of bad moments. It's stressful. It's awful. You feel like a failure half the time. But there are plenty of things that outweigh that. Until teaching her to drive, shit, yeah. Yeah, and I have to teach my son to drive. My wife has already said that I have to teach all the kids to drive, so that's going to be one of those things that we're going to have issues. I just know it. She did not just watch Top Gun and she isn't gay. Really pretty blonde, blue-eyed girl. Hey, you know what? If I asked my daughter right now what she was going to do when she grows up, I can't even imagine what she's not even 8 yet. But kids are funny. I mean, when I was 17 and my parents had gotten divorced and I wasn't really happy staying up here working with my family, I was thinking I was going to join the Air Force or some shit like that, Oh yeah, I think honestly, I feel like most kids these days have the advantage, ironically, of the amount of time spent on like video games. Like my son, it's not really driving a car, right? It's a video game, but he's excellent at racing games, and he loves watching NASCAR, and he loves anything with cars, and he loves anything. So I feel like maybe he'll naturally have like a talent for it, maybe. Or maybe he'll be the worst, most god-awful driver on the planet. I don't know. It all depends too on if he pays attention or not, which oh. Have your kids learn other languages too. I went with your nephews. I went to visit my nephews in Singapore, and they can speak 8 languages fluently at 10 years old, but their friends know a dozen. Right, so that's something that I will have to implement with them probably next school year. So I took German for a couple of years. I did some private school, and that was I learned the basics, and then I took like 3/4 of German in college, community college, and I got really good at it. I was borderline fluent in German. Now I can barely remember most of it. My brother, he and I took German together because we were in the same class. And then after he moved away, I stopped speaking German because I didn't have anybody to talk to. So definitely, yeah, foreign languages, that's another big thing. And honestly, there's enough online courses. There's enough things that I can have them do from home. I want to get my kids into computer coding. I want to get them into all that kind of stuff. Like, give them as many options and skills as they possibly can have. I mean, hell, I even have a kids YouTube channel that they make me edit videos for them now and upload videos for them. I mean, they've got like 7 subscribers, and it's like most of them are me. But there's so many things that they love doing, and they're so smart. My kids are all they're quick learners despite how dumb they act sometimes, and that's just being a kid. Every kid has their dumb moment. But like, I just feel like there are so many parents that don't push their kids, and you should push your kids to get the best potential outcome for them that you can. You speak 3 languages now and it's redundant for you. I thought the same about yours, considering she grew up with golf carts and go-karts. She wasn't. Yeah, no, honestly, like my kid, he's very smart, my oldest son. He's very good at like baseball, but he's also he doesn't have attention deficit disorder. He only pays attention to the things he cares about. And I know that's a normal kid thing. But my daughter, she's a freaking like, she walks in the room and she heard you from around the corner and she's been spying on you for 10 minutes and she knows everything you're talking about, you know? So there are certain kids that pay attention to what's going on around them, and then there are kids who are just like dense. And I feel like he's a little more dense. He's starting to pick up on things now. Like at 10 years old, he's starting to realize, because my wife had a hysterectomy a couple months ago. So she'll be sitting somewhere and she's not comfortable yet and she's still having pain. And so she'll make a sound and he'll pick up, oh, are you okay, Mom? That's something he wouldn't have done a year ago. So I definitely see improvements there. He's definitely coming around. Learn a bunch of languages is kind of pointless because it's never used and they forget what they've learned. Yeah, that's the hard part. Unless they're gonna get into a job later on where it'd be useful. I mean, you never know. I'm definitely gonna have my kids learn another language. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna do that. I gotta figure out how to do it, because in teaching them from home, I can't teach them a language that I don't speak, right? I didn't take Spanish. My brother took Spanish. My other brother took French. So my brother and I, when we were going to go to school together, we're like, let's do German. Let's do something different. For poor people, it's difficult to pay for tutors and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. So that's where I'd have to do something that was more affordable, like a online learning program or something. Anyways, what time is it? 11:30. All right, it's probably time to start wrapping this up, guys. I am super appreciative that we got even as many people as we did on a Sunday night in here. Very, very much appreciated. And yeah, I'm still trying to work on a new video idea. I was thinking about doing like a deep dive on the EPA. My only problem with it is nobody really cares. The Ohio thing, as big of a deal as it is, I don't know that anybody's really paying any attention anymore, which really sucks, because it's something that I think people need to know more about. Because the EPA only exists to pay out lawsuit money. That's it. You can look it up yourself, but it's something that's quite fascinating I was looking into. That basically for the last however many decades, the EPA doesn't really produce any results. All they do is sit there, they get millions of dollars given to them just in case they get sued, and then those go to the same law firms that continually sue them every year. And that money just goes to the lawyers, the law firms. Every time you heard about something like you said, the boy did great things. I mean, hopefully. He wants to be a baseball player. He can't decide if he wants to be a NASCAR driver or a baseball player. He's like, maybe I can do both. I'm like, how about we just take one thing at a time? Used to be the best in classical music, arts, and sports. Training the brain to use different pathways. Yeah, that's true. I make America greater again, or great again. I don't know. That kind of got derailed halfway through the whole making it a great again part. And again, I didn't love the slogan, but I understand what he was meaning behind it. Yeah, we can only just wait and see what happens. I just hope that... This has been a really weird year, guys. Really weird year. It seems like everybody that's considered a conservative, they're all like at each other's throats and all that. And I feel like some bad shit is going to happen. We're supposed to have a recession this year, an official recession, even though we all know that we're actually going through a recession for the last year and a half. But like, I don't know. I'm not feeling positive about 2024. I'm not going to lie. There's some weird juju going on out here. All right. With that, I'm going to leave you guys. Again, appreciate it. Love that you're all here, and I will catch you all next time, all right?
I need a username. And I have a great one. Little Kid Lover. That way people will know exactly where my priorities are at.
By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
Actually talking about there at the NRA meeting that's today in Texas. Someone should bomb that building.
Day 66, being a girl, and today I'm in nature. Trees, I love them. Water, lakes, I love them. Heels, they're my hiking heels. I love them.
I'm shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap.
Everybody is going to get to know each other in the pot. I'm serious about this stuff.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I enjoy having breakfast in bed. I like waking up to the smell of bacon. Sue me.
How dare you? And your favorite dish?
My favorite dish? I like mugs because they're very comfortable in your hand and they hold hot things.
Describe your perfect date.
I'd have to say April 25th.
If I had a gun with 2 bullets and I was in a room with Hitler, Bin Laden, and Toby, I would shoot Toby twice.
That's
Okay,
You were
all
being
right.
really funny, and then you went too far.
It was bad. It was bad for Trump to meet with Nick and Yank.
To keep alive the truth and honor of the Holocaust, horror of the Holocaust.
Fuck. Is it bad advice to say, like, go outside Ted Cruz's house and just shoot in the air?
Yes.
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 Why are you running? Why are you running?
You shout like that, they put you in jail. Right away. No trial, no nothing.
Sexism in gaming.
Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists.
Scroats McGoat says, last night as a member, if Tim doesn't disavow Eliza tonight, get the out, Scroats McGoat. Bye-bye.
If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace.
Now, bitch. See how you like guns outside your house. Get a fake tactical nuke.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm.
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that Hassan Piker? I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house.
Or in the ring.
No, in real life,